Good evening, Sally. Very well, thank you.
I have a brief interview for you.
Very well, thank you.
Okay, I have some brief questions that I want to ask you. Please tell me about yourself, sister.
I'm a Franciscan missionary sister for Africa. I'm from Ireland. I came to Uganda in 1969 and I worked in Uganda as a doctor for 30 years. And then I moved down to South Africa and Zambia, Zimbabwe, and then I'm now in Kenya.
And I've heard that you've been involved with the Education for Life program.
Yes, actually in 1981 I went to Dakar for an AIDS conference, and a whole group of us there from different Christian churches met together, and we said, what is the real answer to the spread of HIV in Africa? And we came up with a statement of belief to say that it was really, we needed to look at the behaviour, the root causes that were spreading the AIDS, and to address those. And there was a sister, a medical missionary sister with me at the time, and she came up with the process Education for Life. And we started it then in Uganda. We started the behaviour change process and ran many workshops and seminars on it, and then we began to, as we got more and more experience, we began adding some more things to it. And then we realized after 2 or 3 years that many of the people who went to the program also needed ongoing support afterwards. So we started Youth Alive clubs, which are ongoing support clubs for people who've made that commitment to abstain and to or to be faithful within marriage.
And in Kenya, what does the behavioral change program entail? Because I've heard you talk about the behavior change program. What does it exactly entail?
Well, it's a process. It's a behavior change process that people go through, and it has 3 main stages. The first one is looking at the reality on the ground. What's life like? What's actually happening in the area from where the people who are doing the program come? What do they see needs to change, and what is the alternative? The second stage is the alternatives, and then the action that needs to be put in place in order to bring about that change. It's really about helping people to realize that they need to change some areas of their life if they were to avoid getting AIDS or getting other diseases.
When you're doing the program, does it take a process? Because behavior change is not easy to change. We are all human beings, and behaviors can be learned and relearned too. So does it take a process to change a behavior?
It does. I mean, just telling somebody you need to change behavior doesn't seem to work. You really help them to discover where they need to change or where they're putting their life at risk, and then help them to look at alternatives, and out of that then try and get a commitment to change and to begin to work at it.
Do you only target the HIV affected and infected people, or what other target group do you have?
No, it's mainly actually a prevention program as well. We target many youth, many young people, to help them to abstain until they get married and to be faithful within marriage. So you can use it for any group at all.
Has this program really been effective in Kenya, to be specific?
Yes, I think so. From what I hear, I haven't really worked on it in Kenya until this last year, but from the reports I've been receiving from Education for Life in Kenya, I think it has been effective. My main work in this program was in Uganda, and it was very, very effective there. We actually, at one stage when we started the program, Uganda was known as the AIDS capital of the world, and it had a 27% prevalence rate, and within a few years it was down to 6%, and the very good thing was down among the youth, it was down to 2.1%.
And also I want to ask, are there some critical emerging issues that your program can be used to address in Kenya?
Yes, I would say to it, because the process can be used for any behaviour change that you want to bring about. And I think recently you've heard about the worry and the anxiety around the alcohol. There's just so many young people becoming alcoholics, and it could be very useful to use this process to help alcoholics to realize that they need to change and to bring about change. The same way with drugs, with drug addiction, which is on the increase in Kenya. It could be used in that. It can be used all around corruption. It can be used in any behavior that you really want to change.
Correct me if I'm wrong. This behavior change program, is it a program that can incorporate anything as far, okay, I've heard you talk about HIV and AIDS, I've heard you talk about drugs and alcohol and substance abuse, I've heard you talk about emerging issues. So your program can be used or can be customized to fit in any emerging issues.
Yes, because the whole process is really about giving people questions that they discuss and in small groups and in plenaries, and the answers really come out of the group doing the program. And then once that is there, then you encourage them to look at alternatives, because one of the reasons why people sometimes fail to change is because they don't look at alternatives. But if they look at alternatives and see there is a way forward without being alcoholic, there is a way forward to get off drugs and to stay off drugs. Okay, there's a lot of work to be done and there's a lot of support to be given, but it can be very effective.
Oh, your program is all about changing people's mind, perception, attitudes,
yes,
and some behaviors.
Yes.
Okay. And where do you see your program or Education for Life program in 5 years to come?
I would say you will always be dealing with human beings, and we all have weaknesses, and we all have, and there's always addictions there that we need to get over. So I would say that it will still be a very useful program to bring about change in different behaviors that may arise. And I think that even in 5 years' time we'll be still working to bring about change in the areas of alcoholism, drugs, HIV. I'm a Franciscan missionary sister for Africa. I'm also a qualified doctor. My home country is Ireland, and I came to Uganda in 1969 and worked in Uganda for 30 years, and I worked down in South Africa, Zambia, and now I'm
Sister, you're well traveled and you've been a catalyst of change in so many countries. Do you have one outstanding case study that you can share with us?
I suppose the outstanding case study that would be my time in Uganda, where we actually started. And at the time when we started, there were many people dying of AIDS, and there were no ARVs, and people were very eager to learn and to try and stop the disease. And we really worked very hard, and we got a lot of people involved. We trained a lot of people at the university, and we got them going out into different parts of the country, and we set up offices in 4 districts. And so we had a very active program in Uganda, and so it spread to many places. And then the Youth Alive clubs caught on very quickly, and today there are over 500 Youth Alive clubs. These are young people who've done the program and who've made a commitment to abstain and to avoid drugs and drink and stuff until, and until they get married, or at least no sex until they get married. So it's had a very big impact there. And we also run a musical festival and drama festival every year, which keeps the momentum going among the young people.
Okay. And I think chastity will go a long way as far as youth and HIV.
The big thing in Uganda was that we had the support of the president and his wife. And they really supported the president. The president supported the program. He was also a catalyst, if you like, for people not being promiscuous. And his wife did a lot of work, especially working with young women, and promoted the values of virginity, which was very ingrained in their culture. So in that sense, it's because of the support, it was great.
Thank you, sister, for your sharing. Great program there you're doing, sister, and I'm so grateful for today. great work, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Sally. And the same as you. Continue the good work here in Kenya.
We are so grateful.
We came up with the following. The role of facilitator: 1 is to guide the group, 2 to inspire or motivate to motivate them. Sorry, the handwriting. 3 is to encourage or to empower the participants to new commitment among the participants, and the last one is to ensure there is a common level of understanding.
In our discussion, we found that the role of the facilitator is, number 1, to moderate the group interactions. The second one is to guide the group. Then to focus the group discussion, and then also to help the group create a safe environment for all the group members where they can interact and also give their input. Another thing is to motivate the group members so as to encourage active participation from all. And lastly, to give relevant and accurate information and correct any misconception or misinformation.
Also one task, identify the gaps and within the process. And also
Facilitator 1 is the facilitation process. 2 summarizes all that has been shared as well as preparing an input. 3 harmonizes different views, opinions from participants. 4 keep the group alive and energized. And 5 a facilitator brings a sense of ownership to the present reality as well as journey with the participants towards realizing their potentials to live their dreams.
Thank you.
roles of the facilitator: 1. Acts as a guide to the audience and participants by setting clear ground rules. 2. Effectively bring a group after learning activity or after intense discussion. 3. Helps in setting healthy boundaries, such as create a safe and respectful environment where members feel comfortable while sharing knowledge. 4. To help the group to grab with the content. 5. Offer basic explanations for concepts. 6. To help all participants to fully participate in the discussion.
Thank you. So you've got a good grasp of what we've been talking about. Did anybody do any planning beforehand? Real interaction cards, right? And it serves many purposes, that open discussion. If a person raises an important issue, all can get involved in the discussion. Right? Stakeholders can express diverse perspectives around that issue in an open discussion. So you get listening to everybody's views. And points of disputes can be clarified. Like, what is the dispute that's going on? What do you not see right in what that person is saying, or what is your slant on? Keep bringing it back to the issue that's on the road. Or another danger is you get a few dominant people, and they're all the time jumping in, and they're all the time giving the solution, and they're not giving other people a chance. These are, especially when you have big, large group discussions. And maybe for the facilitator to ask themselves then the following questions. Who talks when? Does the facilitator focus on the speaker or call upon others? Do you let the one person dominate, or do you call upon others? Which do you do? If you're facilitating the whole, keep reminding yourself you're facilitating the whole group, not just the dominant people, right? So you keep finding ways of bringing other people in. And what content to support? Should it be the facilitator keep the focus on a specific point or move to another point? And usually you have to use your discernment there. Is the point that's being discussed the important one? Or have we drifted and do we need to come back? Alright? And that's where the skill comes in of facilitating, is to keep the focus on what's important. Now, to organize the flow of discussion, one of the ways that can help you when you have a large group discussion is to use what we call stacking. And you actually do it, but you don't call it that really. And the stacking is where you say, okay, who wants to respond to what we said? And you might get 5 people put up their hands, and you say, okay, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we'll speak in that turn, right? Now, that is fine, and in most cases you can stick to that. But somebody might, maybe not a particular person, says something that's very strong, and you can see who's reacting. Then you can break the stacking, right? And say, okay, just for the moment we'll hold the stacking, and I'd like, if somebody would like to respond to what has been said, right? Just take the temperature of what's going on in the group, right? That if people are really reacting to something, don't let it get lost, but be prepared to, but then say we will come back to number 4 and 5, right? That's what they call the